Shut up and sit down.
Welcome to the Big Blue Offensive Podcast with Mike Trainer, Jay Jules, and John Depot. Hey, what's up, Giants fan? Welcome to the BBO NYG Podcast. I'm Mike. That is John. Jules is not with us tonight. I think he had to go to some doctor's appointment, he said. I think he's like sleepwalking. Yeah, he has a problem sleepwalking, but with Jules, he doesn't just sleepwalk, he sleep drinks. So like 3 a.m, he'd just be walking to his fridge and start pounding beers. And then he's like, where did all my fucking beers go? So he set up like a camera in the corner of his kitchen. And then he sees himself fucking walking to the fridge, drinking like a 6-pack of beer like 3 a.m. and pissing all over himself. So Jules,
Mike,
yeah,
why did Jules send us the video of him jerking off into his fridge though? I don't know why he did that.
I'm totally fucking joking. I'm totally joking, Jules. I know Jules is gonna listen. Like, what the fuck, Mike? Jules, get back soon. But this is guest season, so it's that time of year. We're gonna start rolling guests through the next couple months before the NFL draft. So our first guest is Mark Missoura. Mark, is that right?
Yeah, Missouri. Sounds like a Z.
Missouri.
Yeah.
Missouri.
So thank you for coming on for the podcast. Appreciate you. Just give us a little background where we can find you and then the podcast that you do.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys having me on. I got onto Chad Powers on Twitter. He came across my timeline and
Yep.
hilarious. Hilarious, and I agreed with most of the things you were retweeting and tweeting out, and I just reached out, and that's how we kind of connected. But yeah, big Giants fan. I'd consider myself like diehard, go to 1 or 2 games a year, never miss a game, like no matter what.
Yeah.
I'm on Twitter at Mark Missoura. I also have a podcast called Sons of the Hunt. It's an outdoor lifestyle podcast. We do a lot of like storytelling about hunting, a lot of stuff with wild game, like cooking. And we're kind of like a little bit of a craft beer review podcast as well. So a little bit of everything, just, making content, having a good time and drinking on podcasts pretty much. So
There you go.
Nice. That sign is dope behind you.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I'm in our studio, which is just a bar in my basement that I built.
Perfect.
Fucking studio. Millionaires do their fucking podcast out of their basement studio, so don't feel too bad about it.
Yeah.
Where'd you get that sign? Where'd you get that sign made?
So my buddy actually designed the logo, and I have another buddy who works in a metal shop who actually cut it for me. So
That's sick.
Wow.
Yeah, I got super lucky. I just know the right people for this kind of thing,
That's when they say networking. Fucking There you go. That's your network is what you're all about. I'm playing a game, God of War Ragnarok right now, and I can't help but see like the fucking ruins in that game right behind me. It's pretty cool. I don't know if you guys play video games or not, but that game is fucking masterclass in video games.
I've heard it's pretty awesome.
Yeah,
it's I actually did all this stonework, and the bar, my computer is sitting on a bar right now, and the outside of the bar is the same stone. I used to do a little bit of masonry, so
we got a real man's man is basically what you're saying here.
Right.
Yeah. I wasn't gonna say it, but
yeah. Chad Powers.
I'm talking about playing God of War. He's like, yeah, I just built this by hand.
Yeah. Chad Powers is a mad child compared to that. Mark, where are you in New York? Are you in the New York area?
I'm close. I'm in northeastern PA. I'm like 30 minutes south of Binghamton.
Oh, nice. Okay. So you got to represent the Giants. Yeah. I like that.
It's Eagles country here, though.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. I would say move, but I mean, you're already there and you got a nice basement and all. So, yeah, again, thanks for coming on. We are looking for a new logo. We're looking to upgrade our logo. So if you know anybody, Mark, you just kind of mentioned somebody there, you might want to give them our logo, see what you could do with this mess we have right now. You can tell the t-shirts we got going on. But yeah, thanks again for coming on. Appreciate you. But we got to talk Giants football. The thing going around Giants Twitter is Daniel Jones' contract. And listen, if for everybody that listens to the podcast, everybody knows our feelings. Me, John, Jules, we beat that Daniel Jones, how we feel about him to like a dead horse. But John, real quick, I do want to go to you and ask you about what do you think? Does this change your opinion on Daniel Jones that he's now apparently asking for $45 million?
See, if you take it at face value and you buy into it, just like, hey, I don't know anything about the NFL and negotiations, and I haven't seen any of this play out before with other players and other teams, you'd say, oh, bro, $45 million. Come on, man. Like, that's a lot of money. But I also know from being a fan that a lot of this is just negotiation tactics from both sides. You've seen it with Saquon right now as well. So I think there's a lot of gamesmanship that goes in between the team and the agent and with the player. So I don't want to buy too much into it. I don't think he's getting $45 million a year. I don't think he thinks he's getting $45 million. I don't think that his agent thinks he's getting $45 million a year. Unless a team is desperate enough to say, hey, listen, we're going to give you the $47 million if the Giants let you go. If someone's come out and told them directly, which technically would be fucking tampering or whatever they say, I can't really buy into it too much. I know he's going to get a lot. I know he's going to get a lot more than even pro Jones fans want him to get, because that's just the nature of the quarterback position. But I said in the group chat before, 2 years ago, the Kansas City Chiefs gave Patrick Mahomes, okay, better quarterback, whatever, but gave him $500 million, $50 million a year, whatever the case was. And that was a gargantuan fucking deal. Now, just 2 years later, we're seeing all these pundits saying about how economical of a deal it was and how well it's working out for Kansas City with the way the cap is going up. So I think there's going to be a little bit of like that stings a lot right now. But by the time we're in the 2024-2025 season, I think that is going to be like, okay, it was a good move by Shane to sign him to whatever number he gets, 36, 37, whatever it is.
Mark, what do you think?
Yeah, so I'm very pro Jones. I've got Daniel Jones signed jersey on the wall over there.
My man.
Yep.
You want to replace Jules every Tuesday?
Right. Jules, you're out.
So my thing is, I'm sure you guys are in the same boat. You've watched him play since 2018 now, and it's like 2019, my bad. Yeah. No. When you see the way they lost so many games, like so close, and then when he was out, they were dog shit. They weren't even close. Right. So the Giants without Daniel Jones since he started, when he's not in, I think they're like 1-9, something like that. They don't win without. They don't have a chance. I mean, he's come along. He's a professional quarterback, at the highest level, you could say. You look at like Kirk Cousins' contract when that came out, it was like the same thing. It was like outrageous. And now you look at it, it's like, what is it, like 35 million or something like that? So it's kind of
in that vicinity, yeah.
Yeah.
It was a lot for him when he signed it.
All these contracts look the same way. Like when they first come out, they slap me in the face. But a couple years down the road, especially if we sign him now for like the 35 to 38 million, a couple of years, it's gonna be nice. They're gonna be in a good spot. And I don't know. I'm obviously all for them signing him. So sooner they get it done, the better, because I can't even be on Twitter anymore. It's
John, you touched on it, man. Like, you guys both touched on it. Like this contract, like if he does sign it now, it doesn't mean anything, a couple of years down the road, especially if they do like a big, huge signing bonus where they could just make the cap hit, pennies for the first couple of years, which they could possibly do. And I keep telling people, you got to read the room. Like these agents aren't stupid. The cap went up from like 188 in like 2019 to like all of a sudden 230, right? This year. It would have been at 275 if it wasn't for the COVID year, which knocked the people out the stadiums. Okay. It would have been 275 right now. This CBA agreement is signed to the year 2030, right? Dude, I'm telling you, the cap is going to be, it's going the way the NBA is. Guys are going to get paid. Remember in the NBA, like, a few guys you never even heard of got these big contracts, and everybody's like, why are they paying all that kind of money? He sucks, right? But then all of a sudden, like 2-3 years down the road, all of a sudden that contract is like pennies on the dollar. So I think that's what people are missing here. So if he gets that big contract, it's not going to, mean that big of a deal where it's going to, like, the Giants organization, their hands are going to be tied. You know what I'm saying? So I don't think it's that big of a deal.
And also, just as a Giants fan, like really having absolutely zero control over what goes on with signing players and scouting and all that shit, just really just being on the sidelines fucking watching. The Giants aren't giving him 38, 40, whatever $1 million he's gonna end up getting if other teams aren't also interested in giving him that type of a contract, because that's just the way fucking market works. That's just capitalism. So if we are in a position where we are paying a quarterback $35+ million a year, that should tell us that we got a fucking real quarterback, like a legit real quarterback. I know he played really well last season. I personally think that in the previous 3 years, he also played very well. It was just hampered by everything that was going around him with Joe Judge and Garrett and everything else that was going on. And it hindered his ability to even be average version of himself. And now that he was even just a modicum of success with the offensive coordinator and all that stuff, all of a sudden now he's a $40 million quarterback. So the fact that that potential is there, and I was saying it before, we just got to harness this kid's talent, and I feel like they've started to do that. Who cares what the quarterback's making, bro? All you care about in this fucking league really is getting the guy that can take you to the promised land. The numbers and all that shit, bro, that's back end shit. That's not for us to fucking worry about. There's a cap. Just go to the games, buy the jerseys. That way they can fucking afford to keep these guys happy. That's all you need to fucking worry about. And if you got a quarterback and a team that's kids, 24, 25 years old right now, which means you got 8, 10+ years of a legitimate fucking great quarterback play. Who cares what the fucking contract says? As a fan, like really, what do you care?
Yeah, some of these people get so tied up in the money, like it's coming out of their pocket. Like it's absurd, man.
It's odd.
And the other thing, this is all conjecture. What these numbers are. That 45 million, or what that came from, like Mike Florio. That's like, I think where the rumor like kind of started. And if you look back, like he's kind of like a clickbaity like beat reporter.
Yep.
Like he's
right.
out there just to throw something. Yep. And the way he worded it could possibly want 45 million. Okay, maybe he did. They're not going to end at 45 million. Like it's like negotiations 101. Like
right.
Throw out the high number, meet in the middle. And it's probably what they're going to do. I think at the end of the day, he's going to end up like 38, somewhere in there. I still would be mad if it was like 40.
Yeah, some of these clowns on Twitter like are just going all off. They're like, oh, if he wants 45 million, I'll show him the door myself. I'm like, who the fuck are you? Like, like you don't pay his
drive to the airport. That's what you fucking people like to say.
Oh, yeah, they're all out for over this one. I'm like, I want to go at them. I'm just like, I have no energy anymore. These people are nuts.
You know what it is? It's just because they're relentless, and it's started with Saquon Barkley 5 years ago, and complaining about the running back thing. Then it was Jones. Then it was Andrew Thomas. Then it was this guy. Then it was that guy. It's always a question of fucking the fans just being able to find the negative in whatever the situation is, regardless of whatever the facts are around the given subject. So it wears on you. That's why we got the Haters Club, bro. That's why it's almost fun fucking segment that we do.
I mean, you even saw Packers fans like a couple years ago complain about like Rodgers. Like it's just always going to be that way. Like you're always going to have those fans that are just going to be like you guys said, like haters pretty much. I feel like it's usually like, fair weather fans that say, I'm a Giants fan, but they don't watch every game. They don't see what's going on. They're not listening to podcast after podcast. They're just taking it at face value where they're seeing this quarterback that they think the Giants reached for, and they haven't been winning, but they also don't know any of the situation around them. And that's really when I feel like these people become the loudest, the ones who don't actually follow it as closely as you guys or myself.
Well, now they want like guys like they sweat all the college quarterbacks that everybody hypes up every year. It's just like it's quarterback hype season right now. Like we all seen it. The Anthony Richardson talk. It's like I'm like, Jesus Christ. First off, like they're saying he's probably projected to go top 10. We don't have that. We're at 25. I don't see us traded down to get him. It would just seem stupid. But the fact that they would want to start off fresh with a new quarterback, that puts us behind the 8 ball for another at least 2-3 years, right? That's just to give me like that's an easy one, right? But to start over, when we had a playoff team, we won games, we won a playoff game. Why can't we just build around our guys, make the team better, and go on another run? It was fun. It was a good year. And these people just like, they always want the next best thing. They think Mahomes is like a guy that can come out every draft. And it's just like, it's just not possible, guys. You know what I'm saying? And it's hard to get through to people like that.
A lot of people also do hang on to their original take of, I hate Daniel Jones. And no matter what happens, they're just going to bark about why we shouldn't have him or why we need to get another quarterback. So you got to, it's almost like you just got to ignore these people. And really, honestly, for your mental health, you should ignore people like that who find the negative in every fucking rainbow. Like those people you shouldn't have in your life, regardless of the Giants or anything else. But this is just nature of human beings. Is the nature of fucking sports fans, and especially the nature of fucking New York sports fans. And it's frustrating to deal with when you have more of like a positive outlook on a team, or at the very least just want to enjoy the hobby of watching sports, because that's only real fucking involvement we have with this is just to watch fucking games for 3 hours on Sundays for a quarter of the year. That's all football really is at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So you fucking get online with these people, man. You fucking you literally sit there, bro, and you just find yourself sitting at a fucking red light fucking arguing with people. Like, light turns green, you're finishing your fucking tweet. Like, you're like, this is ridiculous. I'm gonna get into a fucking accident over some fucking asshole who has nothing better to do than sit in his toilet and fucking talk shit about the guy who's his quarterback.
Don't tweet and drive, man. Save that anger for the end of the day.
Yeah.
Have you guys tried to play out in your mind, all right, what would it look like without Daniel Jones next year? I was doing this today. I was driving. I was just thinking about coming on here. And I was thinking, okay, so if Daniel Jones isn't there next year for whatever reason, are they going to roll with Tyrod, or are they going to try to draft a young quarterback? Even if that's the case, and that means that they probably, tag Saquon. So you've got Saquon with possibly a rookie quarterback or Tyrod, and what does that end up looking like? So that made me look up what Saquon looks like without Daniel Jones on the field, and his numbers are awful, man. He's just not the same guy without Daniel Jones. It's 55 yards a game, 3.6 yards per carry. And that's in I think 9 games without DJ, something like that. And he's gonna have a hard time. He's not gonna be the same guy, because that's pretty advanced offense. That's it's got that kind of Andy Reid style, Buffalo offense that
right.
You gotta be a smart guy to run that offense.
He's only in year 1. What's he gonna look like in year 3 in the same offense? Trust me, I tried. We've seen what the offense looks like without Daniel Jones. When Tyrod Taylor came in, he got hit immediately. He tried to go deep. Meanwhile, our wide receivers don't get open deep, so he tries to chuck it to make himself look good. Right, the very first play, intercepted, and he got the fucking shit kicked out of him. You know what I'm saying? He got to protect himself too. I'm trust me, I watched Tyrod Taylor, and I betted on that motherfucker for years. I watched him play quarterback. When we got him, I was like, all right, cool, back up, that's fine. If Daniel Jones, but then these fucking creeps went on oh, we got to start Tyrod. I'm like, have you guys not watched football? Do you just not watch the game? And I'm like, why would you want Tyrod to start when we have this guy, a young player that has a tremendous upside that could run and pass the ball? He was just getting his ass kicked the whole fucking time behind a shitty offensive line and shitty coaching. Yet he tried to do what he could. I think people they do just want to knock him. For some fucking reason. I can't stand it. It drives me fucking crazy.
And Mark made the point before too. Fucking, we saw what it looked like for that stretch at the end of 2021. 2021, when they just got fucking mollywopped week after week. Joe Judge calls 2 quarterback sneaks on the 5-yard line, his own 5-yard line, and the franchise hit probably its lowest peak in 50 years, if not in the history of the 97-year history, whatever it is, 98-year history at this point of the team. And you just saw a team that was, 1 game off of 500 at week 10 of the season, or whatever it was, week 9 of the season, and then just obliteration every single week thereafter with whatever quarterback they try to put out there.
Injuries
too, but injuries part of the game. But Daniel Jones goes down, and not a competent offense, but as minimal a service. It's literally if you fail getting a 64 in high school, they were a fucking 65. They just got their fucking diploma just to pretend to be a fucking professional NFL team. That's how bad they fucking were with Daniel Jones there. When they weren't, they literally looked like it was a fucking tune-up game in the longest yard, bro. It was bananas.
We had
people forget what that was like.
We had GED quarterbacks.
We had a GED offensive coordinator. We had a GED head coach. We had a GED receiving group for the most part. I don't like saying too much of that because I think Sterling Shepard is a good receiver. I think also fucking Darius Slayton's a good wide receiver. But just look at what happens when you give a young quarterback, a fucking weapon. Look at Tua. Look at Josh Allen. Look at Joe Burrow. Look at these guys and how fucking excellent they look. Right when you give them that fucking weapon that can go up there and make plays.
They can't do it by themselves.
What?
They can't do it by themselves.
They can't, bro. Like Daniel Jones, literally, and it happened this year, but it wasn't as catastrophic as it used to be with like Evan Ingram and shit. He would hit guys in the fucking gap between the helmet and the visor with the nose of the football, like as accurate as you can humanly be as a fucking quarterback.
Yeah.
Period. Stop. And they would drop the balls. They would fucking pop up the balls for fucking interceptions, pick sixes, whatever the case was. You look at other quarterbacks who have these receivers, bro, the ball could be a foot and a half, 2 feet over wherever you would think they'd be able to catch the ball, or outside or below or whatever the story is. Guy drape on top of them, and they fucking make plays. Right. A.J. Brown fucking helped make plays to get them to the fucking Super Bowl, and fucking Devontae Smith. You're going to tell me if they had the quality of receiver, that the play making quality receiver that they were going to run to the Super Bowl? No, you need your players to go above the X's and O's, and that's what Daniel Jones has lost. And watch what the fuck happens when they get somebody in there in fucking 2023. Just watch.
Yeah, for sure. I'm just wondering who's out there for them. Like, is that alpha number one is in this draft?
Or as a quarterback?
There's a lot of good receivers every year, man.
Like
wide receiver?
Yeah.
I tell you, man, it just seems like there's a lot of good wide receivers.
It's kind of like what I'm leaning. I think that they go wide receiver in the first round
at 25.
I kind of think I don't know.
Well, if they have if that kid from Notre Dame, the tight end, comes out, Michael, Myers.
Yeah.
Meyer. I want him, no doubt. I understand.
Really?
Yeah, I understand. We all like Bellinger. That injury sucked. It kind of slowed him down. But if you have those two with a 2 tight end set and they both could block, that not only helps the line, it helps Barkley, it helps Jones, and my man can make plays. I'm talking about, how Mahomes has like a Kelsey type. This dude, I'm telling you, he's gonna be like right there. He's legit. Yeah. And then we could get wide receivers in the second round and third round. I mean, don't forget, like, we do have Wandell coming back, Shepard maybe, but Charles Johnson, Johnson and, Colin Johnson and, maybe Slayton. I don't know if Slayton comes back, but go ahead, Mark.
I've heard that same thing about that tight end out of Notre Dame. I just don't know if he's going to drop all the way to 25. I think that's it's going to be close, but I'm with you on that. I mean, their offense is could be super nasty with those 2 tight end playing in tandem like that.
New England had it, right?
Yeah, I was just about to say that. That would be
one of them was a murderer. You know what I'm saying?
Who knows? I just feel like that's the only outcome that you can reasonably hope for that would make that worth it. Because NFL drafting, especially when you get into the 4th round, like Daniel Bellinger was picked, your success ratio is so low that when you actually do seem to have hit on a guy, it just makes me a little bit squeamish to just put that guy now in a secondary role. I think like if you got a guy who shows you the potential to be fucking a top flight player at his position, and that was in year 1, now you're going to give him year 2 without getting injured and all that shit. Like, I feel like you just say, hey, listen, if we got a first, second round quality talent in the 4th round, like, I don't want to waste that. And if I can use that first round pick elsewhere on a cornerback, on a middle linebacker, on a fucking whatever the fuck, offensive lineman, whatever, interior offensive lineman. I just feel like the value there is just a good bit higher because you can still end up with a top flight tight end because of Daniel Bellinger already, and you'll need a 4th round pick on him.
Who do you want, Mark?
I don't know. I'm definitely with you on that that tight end out of Notre Dame. Like I'd for sure be all for that if he's there at 25, like 100% pull the trigger. I don't know. Rashee Rice was looking pretty good, but I heard he had a pretty bad Senior Bowl. It was another. Why did that Flowers looks pretty good?
Yeah, it does look pretty good. I won't mind Flowers either, but it's going to be tough, man. It's going to be real tough.
Be nauseous if we drafted another guy named Flowers.
I just want somebody big though. Like we need I know, right? Can you imagine getting another Flowers?
That's so easy. I don't know.
All the top wide receivers in this draft are like slot guys. They're all pretty small.
Yeah, they look small, right? Like I mean, the tallest wide receiver we would have if he does come back from his injury is Colin Johnson.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And looked like he had like a nice rapport with Jones.
Isaiah Hodgins, though.
Yeah,
Isaiah Hodgins is big. He's like 6'4", 6'5".
I mean, it's nice to have that.
Yeah, it's big. I mean, look how much of an impact he had on the offense when he came. He was nobody. He was a literal nobody.
Yeah, I tell you, if it's my choice though, and Michael Mayer's there, and one of these wide receivers, I gotta go with a kid out of Notre Dame. So I watch Notre Dame like every week, and this dude is. I'm telling you, John, he's a stud. Yeah. He won't be like second fiddle to Bellinger. I'm telling you.
No, I think you would make Bellinger second fiddle. I'm just saying if I hit on $1 scratch off for $1,000, I would want to say, okay, $1,000 profit done. I don't need to fucking re-gamble that into $10 scratch offs and lose all my money. That's
okay, silly. But look how we used the 2 tight end set. I understand we didn't have the wide receivers going over the top of the defense, but if Wan'Dale does come back and Colin does play, it throws a different scenario there. I'm going to be interested to see what they do, regardless.
I get nervous with Wan'Dale, man. Like for some reason, just a gut instinct I have with him is that he's going to be a fun player to watch kind of blossom. But I think just his stature, he's so fucking small.
Yeah, he's small.
I just get nervous that a guy like that, how often can he be 100% healthy?
Yeah.
I hope that he never gets injured the rest of his fucking career and he goes to the Hall of Fame as a Giant. But something in my gut tells me that there's going to be a lot of like, oh man, I wish we could have just, got more out of him. Not that we won't get anything like Tony, but like just like you'd see it's there. It's just you're not able to really kind of harness it just because he doesn't stay healthy long enough, as often enough as we need, because he's so small. We may not have. I mean, we have Isaiah Hodgins, and then if Colin Johnson stays on the team, but right now, who else do we have? Didn't they just cut Shepard or something like that? Didn't something happen with Shepard last week, a couple weeks ago, that he's not on the roster anymore?
I don't know. I see that.
A couple days after the Super Bowl, his contract, sets to become a free agent. So basically, that's what happened. And
okay, so he's not. Yeah, so he's not on the active roster anymore.
No, but it's still like a small little cap hit because of that. I mean, I think it might be like a $2 million cap hit, but
that breaks my heart.
It's gonna be tough for him to, don't forget he's coming back, Wan'Dale's come back, and they're not, they're supposed to be back in time for week 1, but I mean, listen, who the hell knows? But
who knows?
I do want, I tweeted this out before. The guy from Tennessee, quarterback Hooker, is gonna come out this draft. I personally believe, in my opinion, I think he's the best quarterback of this draft class. I like the way this kid plays. I think he's legit quarterback.
Mike, tread carefully. I don't know where you're going with this.
No, this is what I want to happen. I want the Daniel Jones to be signed. Everybody knows that. Sign him. But I do want Tyrod Taylor out of here, even though he's good for the quarterback room. That's what they say. But to have a guy that could come in, groom, learn the system, it's always good to have 2 quarterbacks, because then all of a sudden you could trade, a Hooker down the line and you get more draft capital, especially the way these teams just roll out with these draft picks. You know what I'm saying? He would be
the
guy I
would
expected
to go.
I said the second round when I was watching college football during the year. That was me. But now, I mean, how these teams are. Everybody gets, in love with quarterbacks. They're going to draft everybody in the first round. I hope he don't go in the first round, but if he slips in the second round and we're able to get him, I would definitely pick him up. That's just my opinion.
Boy, Giants
You are
Twitter.
a big gambling man, my friend.
What do you think, Mark? Would you sign or draft a quarterback that you could groom in the later rounds, second, third, fourth?
Yeah, I think that's a smart play. I mean, you only have Tyrod for what? This is his last year on his contract, your contract. So they got to start thinking about something there. You're not going to have. I don't know, because they're probably not going to carry 3 quarterbacks again this year. I wouldn't think. So,
I don't. That's the thing. You got to get somebody in. If Tyrod's definitely this is last year, and he could be cut. I mean, everybody knows he could be cut if somebody does get drafted and goes in that backup role. But I would like to see them have insurance because listen, Daniel Jones, he's been injured pretty much every year. He had the ankle this year. So we definitely gotta. If I'm the Giants, I want us to be protected too. But I want somebody that can learn the system since apparently these coaches and the staff is going to be here a while.
Yeah.
Learn the system, and then just let it roll with that. You never know what could happen. NFL people get hurt. People move on. You never know.
I don't know if you could rule out the scenario though that they let Saquon walk.
Oh God, I didn't say that.
I know, but this draft is going to be pretty deep with running backs.
I know.
And you again, like after I was having this internal dialogue with myself today, and I started looking, and you look at what DJ has done without Saquon, like games where Saquon was out and DJ was in. DJ, he was like 80% passer rating. His numbers look pretty good, and that was with probably like mostly like Wayne Gallman. So if you get like a stud, there's got to be 5 or 6 like decent running backs. You're obviously not going to get the same kind of production, but you can get a good running back here.
All right. Now, listen, I understand where you're going with this. A lot of people are talking about it. Our special guest next week, Vin, is kind of on board with Barkley leaving. So we'll talk to him next week about that.
Like, I'm not gonna be around next week.
Yeah, you might have to take that episode off. But he did come around on Daniel Jones. But we'll get there next week. But as far as right now, I understand where you're going, Mark. And I do want Barkley back. Everybody knows I want Barkley back. I love Barkley.
I do too.
I named my dog. Yeah, everybody wants it.
But I'm not going to rule it out,
I know what you're saying, but at the same time, I do want it back, but I do want the Giants to draft another running back. We got to take the workload off this guy. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, we had a couple guys that did okay, in spells here, but when we were winning, it was like what, thunder and lightning. Then we had Ahmad Bradshaw, Brandon Jacobs. You know what I'm saying? So I think we need like that beast. That solid beast that could go up like the middle strong, and then you could like kind of flip flop and give this guy a break. I don't think Barkley's going to break the bank. If he might test free agency, he might get a nice little offer, but I still got a feeling he'll be back. But I think they should draft that position as well.
Yeah, I mean the short story is there's just no depth. Like every position, you could make a case for drafting in this draft.
That's true. That's why we got 9 or 10 draft picks.
Yeah.
So we're gonna get somebody.
Yeah.
I know you guys want like interior linemen, middle linebackers, but interior linemen, we got Isuzu's coming back, and he played well before his injury. Shane Lemieux, I don't know, like, did he cut off his toe? Is he gonna play again? I don't know what's up with that guy.
Yeah, what did they do with Feliciano? They sign him again?
I don't know. That was a
1 year
deal,
deal,
right?
deal.
I thought his was only 1 year.
Yeah, I thought
That's right. I don't remember.
Yeah, it looked like he was one. I think Mark's right. It was like a 1 year deal. So do you move on from him and then sign Gates to take over the center position? I think everybody's fan favorite. They would like that.
I think Nick Gates makes the most sense also because he's A, played with Daniel Jones for a really long time, and B, he's 24, 25 years old, same as Daniel Jones, while Feliciano is already out of his prime. So there's not much more you can expect from him as far as getting better is concerned, while Nick Gates still has, where his floor is. The question is, okay, how many floors are before we hit the ceiling? Where Feliciano is like, okay, how many more floors do we walk down before we get to the basement?
Yeah. True.
Yeah, that's true. He could be out, man.
I like Feliciano though. He's got an Italian last name, so as a Guinea myself, I gotta, I definitely root for him. But Nick Gates, Nick Gates, bro. He's one of the hardest players on the team to not root for. Just the way he fights, like just his attitude, the way he fucking talks about Daniel Jones and stuff like that. It's just like, if you understand football, you understand like what it means, like offensive line, stuff like that, and the chronometer of a team. Like he's a player that like you just cannot not like.
And it seemed like this year, like Gates should have played center way more. Like,
I agree with you 100%.
The snaps that he got there, I mean, he played great. And I don't know if it was just Feliciano is their guy. You know what I mean? They took him from Buffalo, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, is it just because it's a guy that they brought in? They don't know Gates. It's kind of like the same situation with like Slayton coming out of camp. It's like they're ready to kick Slayton to the curb,
Sure were.
I wonder how much was obviously he was healthy, but I wonder how much of them is like I just don't want to press the gas all the way and step on the engine, given how horrific of an injury Gates had. Yeah. So, he wasn't even supposed to. There was a possibility he wasn't even coming back for the season at all. He ends up coming back early and plays well pretty much immediately. So there's probably about a middle ground there to say Feliciano's our guy. We know he doesn't have much time left in the league. We can rely on him to at least give us a semi-decent floor. And at the same time, we can kind of get Nick Gates traction in the system. And as he gets healthier and stronger in the next several months before the next season starts, then we can slot him in to play, 600 snaps a year or whatever the average is for a player. I took a shot in the dark there.
I think that's what it was. I think that's what it was. They kind of like they babied him a little bit coming back. They did the
very possible.
Thing. I think they did the smart thing.
There's not really a solid argument to be made for offensive line rotations based off of like actual history. Most teams prefer not to do that. Your Super Bowl teams, you don't really ever see very much offensive line rotations like that, like you do with the defensive line. So I would feel like that's probably the most likely of scenarios, because if it was a matter of that, okay, Feliciano is that much better than Gates, then Gates would just never see the field. But the fact that it was such an even split between the two of them, I feel like that just lends to what I was saying is, pretty good possibility.
Yeah, I agree with you.
But we do need to get another guard. That's the big problem. Like, can Josh Azudu be that guy? I mean, in the run game, he embarrasses guys. In the pass game, he needs some fucking work.
All rookies do, right? I mean, Evan Neal.
You're right.
Evan Neal needs to. Evan Neal had his good moments, but he had his bad moments too. Now everybody's calling him a bust. I'm like, can you give the kid more than 17 games, 18 games, or 19 games?
Yeah, let him spend the offseason with Andrew Thomas, Pick up
what happened, Mark? Sorry.
So let him spend like an offseason with Andrew Thomas, hopefully pick up on, some of the adjustments that he made from his rookie year.
I mean, he's a big monster coming from Alabama. Like, the dude's tremendous. Like, don't forget, these rookies are going in there facing, like, NFL, I mean, studs, man. Like, these pass rushers, that's what they're born to do. Like, we had to go against the Eagles defense twice, Washington twice, they ain't no joke, Cowboys twice. I mean, that's 6 games right there against some pretty good pass rushers. So, everybody, everybody got to fucking chill, man. You know what it is.
And then there's also a big thing that said, like, when you're using your off season to get ready for the draft and all the stuff that goes into that versus an actual NFL off season, like from your team directive with your fucking dietary fucking plan, your workout plans, off season regimen and all that stuff, you see guys get a lot stronger going into their second year. We saw Daniel Jones. He looked like a fucking transformer going into his second year. You saw Azeez Ojulari get bigger in the second year. You just see it a lot of times with players when they're given an opportunity to have a world-class personal chef and a fucking nutritionist and all these different things aid to making their weapon, their fucking tool, their body be, as primo as you can get as a human being. So it'll be interesting to see a guy that big and that talented, with an off season. I think he had a lot of clearly defined holes in his game, where with Andrew Thomas, I felt like there was a lot of like different things that he was doing incorrectly while still doing some things good. And you could see that there was a lot there. With Evan Neal, I think he was even better than Thomas was. and he's got very correctable mistakes. So like his
Yeah.
feet don't move quick and stuff like that. That's stuff that with practice in a real offensive, a real NFL offseason, you can get better at, to the point where that's negated to some degree, where now the rest of your game can shine, and now you have two fucking gargoyles on either end of your line, and you got to be excited about that as a Giants fan. You got Nick Gates in the center, and then whoever else is going to be our guard to go along with those guys. I feel confident going into the fucking season with those guys.
Me too.
Yeah.
Going into the 2023 season. All right, on that note, we're gonna take a quick commercial break. We'll come back. We'll talk about the 2023 season. We'll see if Mark got any topics he wants to discuss, and then I'll, whatever else comes to mind, and then we'll wrap the show up. But we'll be right back on the BBO NYG podcast. All right, we are back on the Big Blue Offensive Podcast. I'm Mike. That's Sean. That's Mark. Special guests. Guys, the 2023 season, the outlook, 17 games. I want to hear some records, man. What do you think our record's going to be, assuming our boys come back?
Mark, the guys, you go first.
Tough question, right?
It is. I mean, it's
17 games.
It's so hard to
Tougher
know.
schedule.
Tougher schedule. Also, we don't know what the team's going to look like yet. Are we going to assume that
Got
they
to.
signed-
Yeah,
Got
Stu Jones is
Got to
gonna
assume
corner
they're
on the
back.
team.
You have to. You just have to assume that, because if we're starting over, then it's going to be like, all right, we're going to be like 1-16.
Yeah, it's a whole
Yeah.
different conversation.
God, I don't even want to think about that.
I know.
Right.
I hate
And
myself.
you have
for saying
Giants
it.
fans rooting for that, bro. It's unbelievable.
I want to slap myself for even
I'd
saying
give
it.
I give them 9 wins. I think they can win 9 games next year.
Same thing as last year. You don't think they can get better over the year two?
Well, a tougher schedule. I don't know. A lot of the pundits and beat reporters are already predicting like a drop off, because it was such like a positive season. Like Dable like kind of just like blasted on the scene. I don't know. Obviously I want to say like 10-7, but I think it's fair.
You want to say 10-7? That's it. I'm sitting on 13, waiting for you to stop talking.
Yeah, man. I mean, I love it. I'm all for it, but I don't know. To be realistic, like I hope so.
So it's hard to be realistic. Every year I say 13-4. I've been saying that 13-3, 13-4. I've been saying that for fucking years. For me, like, I don't know, like it's gonna be tough. I think they could get like a game or two ahead of what we did like last year, but it's gonna be tough because we play Washington, Dallas, and Philly. Like,
Yeah.
we no matter what, we always just beat each other up. It's how the nature of the NFC East is, and now that the NFC East is back, people used to say like the whole NFC East sucks, but you know what? Everybody's good in it. You know what I'm saying?
also
There's 3
fair.
teams that made the playoffs, so
It's also fair to think that the Eagles will assuredly take a step back this year.
they got to
You know, it's going to be hard to be better than they were this year, and they're losing players. So to make the case that they're gonna lose
Both
fucking 2 games again is just unlikely in every reality. Cowboys as well, they're losing some players. They're getting older. You wonder how much their star players have left in the tank to be special. So
Dak sucks.
Kind of feels like the
sucks.
windows.
Zeke's probably close to being done. I mean, they have Tony Pollard, but still, and they have a bunch of offensive linemen that are older than I am. So I don't know that.
They have to do something with Pollard, right? They either have to tag him or sign him, I think.
Yeah, and I think they will. He's a star over there. I don't think that they'll let him go. Maybe, but they got to know Zeke is not the same player, and Tony Pollard is definitely the guy that when we play them, that's the guy I'm more worried about making a fucking play.
Yeah.
I hate when people compare the whole Zeke situation with Barkley. I'm like,
Mhm.
that fat fuck Zeke, he don't take care of himself.
No, it's
My
crazy.
man's always too busy fucking doing eating. Like, that's what he
Yeah.
loves to fucking do. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
you
That
can
fat
see it.
fuck is not taking care. He's not fucking, fucking deadlifting fucking 8,000 pounds. He's not fucking squatting 9,000 pounds. So I don't want to hear that fucking noise. That argument.
When you can see, when you can see the difference between the two players is with Saquon, you can see that there's a desire for greatness behind his eyes. Like when you listen to Kobe talk, you listen to Jordan talk, you listen to these guys, you can tell that they didn't want to just be good. They didn't want to just be rich and famous. They want legitimate, real greatness. And with Zeke, one of the big problems with a lot of athletes is because they're so talented, especially growing up, that everything comes easy to them, going up all the way until they get past their prime in the NFL or MLB or whatever the case is. Robinson Cano had that big problem. Had that problem also with the Yankees. He was so good, so special that when he played, he almost looked like he just didn't give a shit. And a lot of the times athletes, that's not that they don't give a shit, but they just were so much better than everyone around them for so much of their lives that it almost like the talent hampered their ability to be the best version of themselves from like a work ethic standpoint and all that. And I feel like when you combine the greatness athleticism wise and talent wise with the drive, that's what separates good from great and great from special. And I think that's the big difference between Zeke eating McDonald's and shit like that every fucking weekend and all the other shit that he does versus a guy like Saquon who wants to be a god.
Sure. He's so fat he can't even get in that Salvation Army thing anymore.
Well, that's why he cuts his fucking shirts, bro. He's got to give his belly a little room to breathe.
Yeah. Totally does.
Crop tops, bro. That's the thing, man. My fiance watches the show fucking on Netflix, and two of the guys, it was one of those stupid dating contest shows. Two of the guys have like actual real shirts that are crop tops, straight crop tops, and they have their fucking obviously you got an 8-pack, like, all right, I get what you're doing, but crop top, like a cut shirt, nipples just below the surface, like crazy.
This show went off the rails. I don't want to see any of that, man. If you have an 8-pack or whatever, just don't wear a shirt. You know what I'm saying? Don't wear anything that's just gonna be hanging off your nipples and shit. That's crazy. That's crazy, though. Just if you want to be real, come get the Big Blue Offensive New York Giants podcast t-shirt that we got going on. Hit me up. I mailed out a bunch of shirts to everybody in the DMs that hit me up. I got a couple people left in the DMs I got to get the shirts out to. Obviously, if you're supporting the show and you like the show, it doesn't cost you anything. But at the same time, if you do want to support us, we have the website up on Chad Power's Twitter feed. Go to the website. There's a donate button. If you want to donate $1, $2, or $3, or if there's a millionaire that listens to this fucking pod, you want to put a fucking $1 million in our fucking thing, I won't be mad. So hit us up, man. Hit us up on that.
Great call. Millionaires put $1 million in our fucking donation box. And our store is officially going to be going forward. Going to be called the Crop Top Shop, and you get all merchandise there.
I was going to ask, you guys have the crop version of that?
I'm gonna have to cut my t-shirt. I'll cut my t-shirt for next week's episode and shit.
Oh my god, what a world!
Can you imagine that? Fucking everybody's like fucking blinded by my fucking white belly.
Blind. He walks around like Nick Gates.
He's an animal, man. All right, so anyway, I don't think there'd be any haters group, haters club this week. I don't have anybody to hate besides all the people that are just spazzing out over Daniel Jones. Unless you guys do. Do you have anybody you want to hate this week, or you want to let it ride since we have a special guest this week and keep it nice and professional?
I mean, I don't have anybody, but I've been steering clear of Twitter. I got a clear head. For the Giants. Just paying attention to the news.
I have a pretty good beef on Twitter, and
let's do it.
Let's hear it.
Welcome all you ignorant ass bitches, critics, complainers, disgruntled rappers, and racists especially, to the 9th annual International Player Haters Ball. Oh man, hate.
I actually made a bet with. Are you guys familiar with Breaking Tackles?
Yes. Yes. He was introduced on the Haters Club many weeks ago.
Yep.
I listened back to a bunch of them. I don't think that I got to that one though. But I made a bet with him. I had it pinned to the top of my Twitter feed. I think I took it down now, but I had a bet with him that if Daniel Jones signs with the Giants, he'll delete his account. He agreed.
Whoa.
He agreed to it.
I read this. Yeah, I read this.
If he doesn't sign, I'll delete mine, and I'll happily do it. It's just Twitter, like whatever.
It's not gonna count.
Yeah. Great second account. That'd be great.
I can't wait. I can't wait for him to sign because
I think that I think Mark is the first guest to have a hater.
Oh man,
That's fucking awesome. I'm glad because
Mark.
I agree. That guy he was the one that I was calling out for his dumb screenshots of guys wide open. I'm like, dude, it's the NFL. If you can freeze anything and a guy could be open. Like it was a total clown show by this guy. I'm like, and I go back at him all the time, and when he's tweets something stupid, which is every fucking day.
I can't make up my mind if he's serious or if he's just like trolling on purpose.
I was just about to say, man, when I first came across Breaking Tackles, he was pro Daniel Jones and he was like a me and Mike camp type guy where we were about the guys playing well, and then all of a sudden one day, I don't know if he went to New York beat reporter school or he got hypnotized. I don't know exactly what happened, but he was just arrows and daggers towards Daniel Jones and the Giants. I was like, I even DM'd him. I was like, bro, what is going on with you? What happened? He's like, nah, bro, fuck this. I don't like fucking Daniel Jones. I'm like, all right.
Well, I don't get it. Like, don't be a fan. Like, go be a fan of a different team then. Like, I don't get it. You know what? If something happens, they sign Anthony Richardson or something, like they draft him at 25, the Jones jersey comes down, the Richardson jersey goes up. Like that's just being a fan.
Right.
I don't get it, man.
I agree.
You look at the laundry, bro. Like that's at the end of the day, that's what it is. But when your team does stuff, especially, your team drafts somebody, okay, cool, you want to root for them and stuff. But when your team roots for somebody and then everyone outside and then a lot of people inside the fan base decide to fucking hate the guy and not give him a fair shake and talk all the shit, slander his name and all the bold-faced lie and shit like that. It's almost like if your little cousin's like getting bullied at school, like you're like, fuck, man, like if I was fucking that age, I'd fucking go stick up for him. Like but you want to just engage with people on Twitter all day and like be as older, like that's not a thing. So you almost like root from heart, like, bro, just fucking show it to them, bro. Stick all 8 inches inside the butthole and stroke back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, nice and slow, and then hit them hard.
Gross. You might hear like a bleep during like some of that, John, when I edit that out later.
Is the title of the episode back and forth, back and forth?
Yeah, you might have to put that on there. Yeah,
I'm all for it. For
it. that dude is definitely Breaking Tackles, definitely one of the clown show people that we talked about before. So I'm glad I'm not the only one that thinks that. And a lot of people don't, because I see when he tweets stuff and people go after him. I'm like,
just like every other tweet.
Yeah, it's because that's got to be so annoying to him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're right though. Being a fan, it's like, listen, you're right. If Daniel Jones, say Daniel Jones decides to they franchise tag him and he gets an offer for a bigger contract and he leaves. Okay, Daniel Jones goes, well, we get 2 first-round draft picks if that happens, and nobody's going to do that. But if he leaves, and you're right, if another quarterback comes in, I'm fucking supporting him 110%. Like, this is my team. Like, I'm not gonna. It's the Giants. Like, I'm not gonna root for somebody's failure. Like, I want to win, man. Like, I used to root for like guys like Dave Brown, Ken Graham, Danny Cannell. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, even before Eli, like who we have, like Kurt Warner, man, was our quarterback for a minute. I was getting his Kurt Warner jersey. I'm like, let's go. Like, but I can't imagine being that kind of like asshole that just like roots against players on your team. I could see like Cowboys fans hating on Daniel Jones, Philly fans, but if it's your own fan base, dude, that just it rubs me the wrong way. I'm like, how do you just act like that? It's weird to me.
Yeah, what do you get out of it? I don't understand. Like, there's no satisfaction out of it, just being miserable about your own team. I just don't understand it. I
wonder if it's something like a biological, because I don't know, this sounds really crazy about to say, but you know how like when you know a girl, like you see a girl's like, oh, this girl's really pretty, but then you find out that she's just a hooer,
Nice.
And it just like you get like that revolting feeling, like, oh, like you're fucking gross. Like I get that same feeling essentially, not obviously to the same degree, especially like if the girl's really like whatever, but or when I was younger, really more, not really anytime recently, but that same like revolting, like repulsive feeling is the same, like to some degree, that I get when I hear like Giants fans. They have fucking a Giants jersey in their avatar, or they're in a picture. They're fucking at the stadium talking about this. Some season ticket holders and stuff like that. And then just constantly slander the team, find a million different ways to hate on the team. It's like there's something just repulsive about it. I wonder if it's something like,
yeah, it's beautiful on the outside, ugly on the inside. But I think that's
yeah, exactly.
Yes.
They're fucking Trojan horses, bro.
Yeah.
Wearing the fucking colors and all of a sudden stabbing the players in the back.
I thought for a little bit that Breaking Tackles might have been like an Eagles fan because he just can't stop talking about Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, on his dick. Yeah, constantly on his dick.
Could you imagine like what your life would have to be like to like dedicate an entire Twitter account to the Giants, but be like a fan of like the Eagles, like behind closed doors?
I can't imagine. That's fucking. It's that kind of like disgusting type of a person just doesn't exist in my life. It only exists on Twitter. I wouldn't be friends with those kind of people. Like, what are you talking about the Eagles for? It's like one of my boys, like that's a Giant fan, is like going around wearing a Donovan McNabb jersey. You know what I'm saying? That's a shout out to somebody I know, by the way. It's just like it's crazy to me. It really is crazy to me to sweat other quarterbacks, sweat college quarterbacks. Just you're a fan of your team. Root for your team. You don't have to be so negative.
College is a different league, but when you're fucking praising and celebrating your biggest division rivals' fucking success and talent and potential, it's like, do you hear yourself? Like,
that's what they do.
It's fucking mind numbing. Like, it doesn't. Okay, he's in the AFC West. Like, who cares if he's good? He's got almost no bearing on the Giants in any way, shape, or form, with the exception of one out of every 8 seasons they play him. One out of every 4 seasons they play him one time. Like, okay, cool. You want to be a fan of them? You're a fan of whatever. But like your arch nemesis, like imagine being a Yankees fan in the 90s and the early 2000s, rooting for fucking Pedro Martinez and fucking David Ortiz. You would get thrown off the top of the fucking Yankee Stadium, straight on your fucking neck.
Yeah. Did you guys? I might have missed it, but did you guys talk about the Empire State Building? What that shit was about?
No.
Stupid, man.
No.
We did. I think we mentioned
off
it
that
before.
week.
Oh yeah, we did take off that week. Yeah, it was stupid. It was the most stupidest thing. I almost went down there just to piss on the building. Like
What the hell's
that's how much I
going on
hated
down
it.
there?
How you gonna put a green? Like who's running the show down there? It had to be like an Eagles fan. It had to be.
I would think so. It has to be somebody in that building from Philadelphia that works in the building. Somebody, but doesn't I thought I saw that the one guy from like Barstool that used to work at Barstool is like the social media manager now for the Empire State Building or something like that. So
Barstool is Boston.
Yeah, but he was working for Barstool in New York, and he left there to go work at the Empire State Building. So I don't know if he has something to do with it or what, but
I meant more is probably a sports allegiance as more to Boston teams. So we wouldn't really have, or just to piss off Newark fans. You're saying?
Yeah, that also would do it. They would have the cause there. I'm
going to reserve that there's probably a 10 to 20% chance that whoever did that is playing 3D chess and decided to say, hey, if we put up the Eagles colors, that's going to go viral and draw attention to the Empire State Building, and we're going to have some people put it in their forefront of their minds, and they're going to go to the building and spend some money. Tourists.
Yeah, that's true, and they definitely got engagement on all those tweets.
That's what I'm saying. It went viral, and I mean, I get it. Like if you're trying to sell fucking appearances or fucking tours of the building. But I mean, that is the very definition of fucking selling your soul, though. So
Terrible.
I mean, God bless you.
I think Chad Powers was like, "How dare you?" I think he tweeted that out there. Like, piece of shit. Craziness. But that's pretty much Giants Twitter as a whole with a lot of these people, especially like the Odell Beckham lovers. I mean, they still got like Odell, profile pictures up. They sweat him. They wanted him to come back. I know people heard me and John talk about that relentlessly. Mark, what's your thoughts about a possible OBJ reunion next year?
It's never going to happen now. I think that
I agree.
Schoen's a pretty logical guy, and I think that those videos were just so damning. And I think that there's probably a lot more behind the scenes
Oh yeah.
that we have no idea about.
Yep.
So
Yep.
I don't know. You might see one of these, desperate teams sign him, but there's no way he's coming back to the Giants. Especially, and then he's been tweeting like about, for some reason, the Giants lost. He was tweeting, wasn't he?
Because the wide receiver,
he was tweeting about
Tony on the Super Bowl because he scored the touchdown and he ran back and he mentioned something about trading him. I'm like, that's just a fucking brutal shot there too. But
yeah, is that the character you want to bring into the building? It's
no.
just, and
exactly.
I wanted to bring it up before when you were talking about, like there's players that just have that like greatness in their eyes, like Saquon. I always saw it with Odell. That was always his excuse for his emotion. Like, oh, I just want to win. Like, I want to be great. Well, if you want to be great, like, what Tom Brady would do? Would he go on a goddamn boat the week before the fucking playoffs? Like, hell no. Like that, and that was him leading that whole. I was off him ever since that. And again, just like you guys, I was a huge Odell fan. I was pissed when they traded him. Like, I loved Odell, but I just felt like there was like obvious character issues. Was he really good for the locker room?
Yeah, we all kind of seen the plane. Daniel Jones did go on vacation at Turks and Caicos. I know you guys probably seen this on Twitter. So Chad Powers actually quote tweeted that picture. He's like, and he mentions Odell Beckham. He's like, maybe on his way home, Daniel Jones will sleep on the airplane, ignore orders to put his seatbelt on, have his pants down, force everyone to get off the plane because he refuses to get off himself, and curse at old people for being mad at his entitlement. So Chad Powers, great tweet. Great.
That is.
So can you imagine Daniel Jones doing something like that? No, you can't imagine. Like, pretty much, would you imagine Barkley doing something like that?
Anybody?
No. Sterling Shepard? No. The only person that could possibly would be him with his prima donna attitude.
Yeah.
He's like, what?
I can see T.O. doing that. I can see Tony doing that.
Yeah.
But
those guys.
You see Daniel Jones, he's being difficult in negotiation, though. So maybe he would be difficult on the plane. That's what I'm seeing now. That's the trick. Daniel Jones difficult in negotiating. Sitting down in Turks and Caicos on the beach, just like, 45. 40.
If you don't do it, it's gonna go to 47. So you better be smart.
Hurry up, bitch. Price tag is going up.
There was a point where I think in the middle of the season last season, maybe like early third or so of the season, where I think all three of us on the podcast wanted Odell to like seriously or wanted the Giants to seriously consider a reunion with Odell. And then it obviously, started to get a little weird. And then like the fact that he wasn't signed, he was supposed to sign with this team and that team, a team, and it never happened. You're like, all right, well, he's probably just too hurt to end up playing. And then that video came out and you're like, bro, if you're capable of this, being that completely removed from just everyday life, like being a normal, decent human being, like if you can't even recognize the problem with that video, like if that's lost on you, as a coworker, I work in the HVAC business. If one of my coworkers acted like that, and I knew I had to fucking share an office with him indefinitely for as many fucking years as they're going to be together, or however many days of the year that they'll be on the contract for a 1-year contract, whatever the story is, I would be like, bro, this fucking sucks. Debbie Downer all the fucking way. Just the fact that this entity is going to be in my vicinity. Imagine that for a fucking locker room where they're supposed to be brothers, and you got a guy who's willing to make 200 people get off of a fucking airplane, have an attitude about it. It's like, bro, like, I get you want to be a celebrity. I get you probably see the end of your career in the NFL, making that the gravy train is going to stop, endorsements are going to stop, and now you're going to just have to be a full-time celebrity, and you have to do shit that's crazy. But like, that's the guy you want to be. Like, that's the guy? I don't know. It's crazy to me.
I'm glad he's done. You know what I'm saying? He won't be coming back for the Giants. And I just want to throw it out there before we wrap the show up. Speaking of like character issues and stuff in the NFL locker room, the Alvin Kamara video just came out of him and his boys just slamming a dude, stomping on his head, I guess in
What?
Vegas, yeah, he's facing the
I didn't hear
Battery
about
Warriors.
this.
So yeah, just another thing around the NFL. Like these guys, man, it's just pretty
what-
bad. Pretty
What's
bad.
the story?
Him and two other of his boys are, pretty much assaulted a dude in Vegas, like I don't know, hotel, bar, whatever. And they show the video of like the dude getting slammed to the ground and then just they're stomping on his head, like pretty awful. It looks like that's Kamara
He's a young guy.
stomping on his head. So it looked
Was
like
he a young guy? This guy.
hey, you can't really. It's hard to tell from the video,
Mm.
but they're probably in like the club or the hotel bar, whatever the hell it was. So yeah, it's just like you got to have. It's another thing in the NFL, man. You got to have the right characters in these locker room. You got to have the right people get along, and I think that's pretty important for our team. And it looks like we have that. And like I always said, it's a young team, so you want this young team to stick around, sign your own, and build something here and get the right chemistry growing. I think we got it.
Do you
Yeah, man,
guys?
go fucking Giants.
Yeah, man.
Mark, you got anything else you want to got anything to promote? Shout out where where people can find you. Any last words of wisdom from a real Giant fan like yourself?
No, man, I don't know. It's just go Giants, If anyone wants to check out Sons of the Hunt, we're on Instagram, Facebook. There's a Twitter account, but it's not really that active. But anywhere you could listen to a podcast, you could find us.
Absolutely.
How often do you guys put an episode out every week?
So we actually took like the last year and a half off. Me and my wife had a baby, so
Oh, congratulations.
thank you. We're just trying to navigate that life and figure out what time is again,
Yeah, a year and a half in, you're coming out of that fucking haze, huh?
Hopefully you guys had a Giant fan. Otherwise, you got to ask your wife questions if it came out a Philly fan.
No. It's all blue in this house, man.
There you go.
She's a Giants fan too?
Yeah.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, by default. There's really just no option,
That's the way to go, man.
Yes, sir.
All right, guys. Absolutely. Yeah, Mark, we appreciate you coming on. Obviously, you can come on anytime you want to. Hit us up. Next week, we're going to have Vinny come on. Me and John are going to make Vinny eat his words about the Daniel Jones little dissing he
You hear that I
did
rubbed my hands
maybe
together,
a
Vinny?
couple months
Rubbed
ago.
my
So
hands together.
we're going to get him. Hopefully, Jules stops drinking and sleepwalking at the same time. And then we'll be back on next week's episode of the BBO NYG podcast. All right, guys. Peace.
Thanks, guys.